Well, good morning, new community. I am here on my porch. I'm actually not alone. I got my son here with me. He is in the process of falling asleep, and hopefully you'll pray with me that he will indeed fall asleep. So he may make a cameo during this video, whether you see him or hear him. But we're all family, so hopefully you understand, and we'll just go for the ride and see what happens. So we're on Psalm 55. I want to start actually today in verses 12 and 13. It says, "For it is not an enemy who taunts me, then I could bear it. It is not an adversary who deals insolently with me, then I could hide from him. But it is you, a man, my equal, my companion, my familiar friend." You know, ironically, sometimes it feels safer to have an enemy than a friend, because a friend can hurt you the deepest. Enemies we keep at bay. We have defenses against. They're not exposed to our deepest vulnerabilities, but friends are uniquely positioned to cause unique hurt. David here is interesting. You know, we're in chapter 55, so we've been reading a bunch of different chapters where David's talking about enemy after enemy after enemy. It seems like almost like he's used to fighting, that this is kind of normal for him. But interestingly enough, in this particular verse, he says, if it was an enemy, I could bear it. But here he's in a unique situation where he's talking about a familiar friend. Let's go to verse 20. It says, "My companion stretched out his hand against his friends. He violated his covenant. His speech was smooth as butter, yet war was in his heart. His words were softer than oil, yet they were drawn swords." Looking at this story and kind of imagine ourselves in this situation, we're probably pretty prone to put ourselves in a position of David, where we're being attacked by someone that we thought was our friend. But here's a challenge. What if the roles were reversed? What if you were that other person that's attacking? You might quickly say, oh yeah, no, that's not me. I'm not that person. But what about social media? What about private conversations where we're all guilty of kind of quickly attacking someone because they don't agree with our position, or they don't see things the way that we see them? I can't speak to your heart. You can't speak to my heart. But there is someone that can. And that, of course, is God. And so it's our responsibility to lay our hearts bare before him and allow him to illuminate the condition of our hearts, so that we're not speaking and yet our heart, yet war is in our hearts, as the scripture says. It goes beyond the surface level and what things appear to be, because it says here that even if our words are smooth as butter, or if they're softer than oil, we can have war in our heart and we can have drawn swords. And so we've got to consider, where is my heart? Am I keeping my covenant before God to honor my brothers and sisters, to represent him, to love everyone like Christ has loved me when I am wrong? It's a unique challenge for us. Going backwards just a little bit, verses 16 through 19, I want to read them. They kind of call us to hope. It says, "But I call to God, and the Lord will save me. Evening and morning and at noon I utter my complaint and moan, and he hears my voice. He redeems my soul in safety from the battle that I wage. For many are arrayed against me. God will give ear and humble them. He who was enthroned from of old, because they do not change and do not fear God." You know, even in this context, we can take comfort in the friendship of God, and trust in his love, that it's strong enough to overcome any other love that fails us. It's strong enough to help us to not fail other people as we seek to love them. This is a challenge to us, to not go after people and attack people, but to go hard after God. Take that to God and allow him to go before us and to change us in the process. So in closing, got these last, two verses, verses 22 and 23. It says, "Cast your burden on the Lord, and he will sustain you. He will never permit the righteous to be moved. But you, O God, will cast them down into the pit of destruction. Men of blood and treachery shall not live out half their days, but I will trust in you." What a powerful sentence. 6 words, right? But I will trust in you. Those 6 words can change everything. And so this is a challenge to us, to put our trust in God, to not be quick to attack, but be quick to love, to not have our swords drawn, but to build bridges. Not that doesn't mean that we have to agree on every single thing, but it means that I see you, I acknowledge you, I value, and I love you. And so we got to take our battles to God. We've got to trust in him. And I pray that you will do that and resist the temptation to be to live in the flesh and to see people as your enemy. But I will trust in you.